We continue to follow that breaking news out of the NBA. The Mavericks have made it official. General manager Nico Harrison has been fired. He's been in charge of the Mavericks for the past 4.5 seasons. He took over in the summer of 2021. Of course, the move comes just 9 months after Harrison infamously traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers. It was a deal that obviously shocked everybody. The Mavs did make the playoffs in 2 of Harrison's first 4 seasons, including a finals appearance in 2024 with Doncic leading the charge. The Mavericks have since appointed Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi as co-interim GMs. We have got our basketball analyst, Nicole Moss, tapping in with us once again here on CBS Sports HQ. Ashley, I told you I'm feeling a little lighter this morning, walking into the office feeling like we got a chance in the future. But I guess a big picture here, when we talk about the Nico Harrison era, how will you remember it most?
Honestly, like most people, that this is the guy who traded away Luka to the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, here's the thing. We all know in certain industries, it's what have you done for me lately, right? And yes, in a sense, it was the heist of the century. You trade away Luka, you get Cooper Flag in return. But Cooper Flag has an adjustment period like most rookies do. He's going to be phenomenal in this league. Let me make that very, very clear. It's just not going to be instant, and that's okay. That's what you expect with rookies. But that's why it was so baffling that Nico Harrison took a chance on the NBA lottery, on getting that #1 pick, on getting Cooper Flag when you were so much closer to what the ultimate goal is for any organization, and that is to hoist up a trophy. You got to the conference finals with Luka, and let's make it very clear. Luka is the reason, along with Kyrie, but Luka is the reason why that team got to the conference finals. And if you're a Mavs fan, if you're just a basketball fan, you had to say they're really close. They're maybe a piece, maybe 2 pieces away from getting back to that position, maybe going even further. So in a sense, you were very outside of the shock of trading away a player of Luka's caliber. When the dust kind of settled, it was just also just confusing in an aspect of, don't you want to win basketball games? And you are more likely to win basketball games with Luka on your team than when he's not. And I think people are going to remember Nico for this, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, we will never ever forget that trade literally in the middle of the night, sending him to LA. Still feels weird, even though Luka is very much assimilated to Lakers life. It still feels very odd. I guess if we keep the conversation, though, in Dallas with this current roster, you talk about Cooper Flag, you talk about some of the other guys they have in the mix there as well, too. What's the focus when it comes to the roster? Do you think you just try to gut it out and see what you have in this group? Do you make some trades, maybe a splash trade like a Kyrie Irving? What's the game plan when it comes to the roster?
The interesting thing about this roster, Haley, and we kind of spoke about this when we saw it early towards the end of last season, early in this upcoming season, right? And that is, on paper, this isn't a bad roster when healthy, right? When Anthony Davis plays his best basketball, when he is in shape, when he's healthy, you know what he can do. Everyone knows how much of a Kyrie Irving fan I am. I think he's the most skilled basketball player we have ever seen. You have Klay Thompson, who really found his groove in Dallas. Obviously, he's of a particular age. And then you have Cooper Flag, who is going to be a generational talent, but just has that acclimation period. So the pieces are there. It's not that this is a bad team. There's just a lot of factors that have to make it a good team. But you're in a situation now where you kind of have to stay the course, right? And here's why I go back to my point about why you don't trade a player of Luka's caliber. Because if the timetable is to win immediately, you're not going to do that with Cooper Flag as your focal point. No knock to him. He's just not there yet. It takes several years. Look at the San Antonio Spurs. Nobody expected Wemby to come in and take the Spurs to a championship. There are growing pains, which is why if you have Luka, you're maybe a piece or 2 away from making that a reality. So if that was the timetable, they failed miserably. If that's not the timetable, and you just want to really use this season, maybe next season, to develop Cooper Flag, I don't think you need to make any astronomical changes. But it just seems to me like the Dallas Mavericks don't really know what their goal is. And if you don't have a destination that you're working towards, towards, if you don't have a goal that you're working towards, you're just going to be all over the place. And that's kind of what it looks like Dallas is, just all over the place.
Yeah, the city as a whole, the sports teams are all over the place in the city of Dallas right now. It's been really frustrating as a fan personally. Ashley, we have this question here. Do you breathe a sigh of relief if you're a Mavs fan, or are you still holding a grudge? For me, I am holding a grudge. I will hold that grudge forever, but it feels better knowing that we won't have to maybe potentially have those types of decisions made if someone else steps in. But I'm curious from your standpoint, how should I be feeling? How should Mavericks fans be feeling? Because this could go one of two ways. It could be an upgrade, or we could take a step back.
For sure. It's a little bit of both, right? And this is why I was so baffled when there were Mavs fans on videos with Cooper Flag jerseys getting Nico's autograph. It was just mind-boggling to me, because that would never happen in New York. He would be public enemy number one until my kids had kids. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it would be. But I think, you know, it depends on how you want to look at it. Obviously, if you're somebody who really believed that the Mavericks were close to getting back to the conference finals or even an NBA finals, you're still holding a grudge, because that is completely out the window at this point. You're essentially starting from zero. Maybe not zero, maybe like 30%, but you're definitely not where you were with Luka on your roster, right? But if you're looking at it from a perspective of, okay, Luka's a Laker, he's gonna be a Laker, that chapter is closed, but now we hopefully have someone coming into our organization who's going to make the best basketball decisions for what the ultimate goal is, and that is to win. You should absolutely breathe a sigh of relief. Here's the thing. Nico Harrison, for whatever reason, has a very clear picture of what he wants to do and has no problems executing that. We saw that when he failed to sign Steph Curry when he was at Nike. We saw that when he traded away Luka, and there's a lot of instances in between we don't have time to get into. There are just some people who are not meant to be in front office leadership positions because their leadership and their judgment is off. So in that regard, I would say that the Dallas Maverick fans should be extremely optimistic about the future. At the end of the day, yes, you lost Luka, but you still have Cooper Flag. And I know he's having a little bit of a rough start finding his groove. That is going to be a phenomenal player in this league for years to come, and he's wearing a Dallas Mavericks jersey. That should give you some hope.
It gives me just a little bit of hope. It does make me feel a little bit better. I go back to what Nico said this April. I believe he said, quote, I thought I did a good job. Here he is looking for a new job. So we'll see how good he does in his next job. Ashley, so good catching up with you, my friend. Good to see you as you're out and about on all of your travels in the basketball world. The NBA is up and running, and the Mavericks have one of the worst leagues in all of worst records, I should say, in all of the league. You see them there at 3-8. The Pelicans also. This is just a bad graphic to be on in the basketball world.